Part 25. Good man, he has a golden finger. Author, Jonghu Buletin. Chapter 241. This is probably the most puzzling question among contemporary young people. After a man and a woman get married, they seem to form a new individual. Women no longer belong to women themselves, as if they become the man's property after marrying a man. Generally, it is like domestic violence. In situations like this, no matter how heavy the woman's hand is, the final result will always be successful mediation and the family will be reunited happily. Of course, it is not just women who are victims of domestic violence. Some men who suffer domestic violence will eventually choose to stay with their perpetrators. This is something that Guo Ran can't figure out. Any wounds that are scary enough to send people to jail when being beaten by strangers seem to become a household chore when placed on the couple, simply a fig leaf for violence. It seems that after getting the marriage certificate, what you get is not the certificate, but the certificate. It's like a death-free gold medal. When watching the news before, Guo Ran saw a case in which the mother-in-law killed her daughter-in-law because she thought her daughter-in-law had low education and was not worthy of her son, a doctoral student from a university. Finally, she issued a letter of understanding to her husband's son, a doctoral student, which perfectly achieved the result that the mother-in-law does not have to go to jail, and the dead wife gets promoted and gets rich. If the marriage certificate is really a fig leaf that can cover up violence, then if one of you hates the other to death, you can marry the other person, and then beat the other person to death in the name of domestic violence within the marriage. In this case, the family will eventually forgive. Book, isn't this an easy way to avoid going to jail and still kill the annoying people? As a woman, Long Liun heard Guo Ran sigh and couldn't help but say, this case may be different from the previous mediation. Qianyu had already planned to divorce before, but his husband Tianzhiban was unwilling to divorce. For the sake of the house and money, I think it is unlikely that they will get married this time. After all, it is the couple has no plans to continue living together. Long Liun thought of Qianyu he saw in the ambulance. Qianyu had blood on her head, but she had a stubborn look on her face. It was obvious at first glance that she was a girl with strong thoughts. Perhaps her previous choice of husband had something to do with her. There is a problem, but she will definitely correct it actively. Okay, I'll go with you to Qianyu's place later. Doesn't she have a daughter in the nursery? Class should be over by now, right? I don't know if someone has been arranged to pick her up. Guo Ran still said the soft-hearted person is now worried about Qianyu's daughter. Don't worry, Qianyu's daughter's nursery is in the community, and everyone knows each other. After what happened to Qianyu, the property management company in their community has helped take care of her daughter, and the neighbors have also helped and called. This is what Long Liun heard when Qianyu called neighbors and the property management company in the hospital. Everyone in Qianyu's new community was very enthusiastic. That's okay. Guo Ran nodded and turned to look at Xietingzhou. Let's go to the hospital to see Qianyu later? By the way, we didn't search him. If Tianzhiban and his family really have real estate certificates on them, it would really be a home invasion and robbery. It would be very easy to convict them. Well, I'll look for Qianyu after a body search later. Xietingzhou nodded, as if he already knew who Qianyu was. After the three of them ate, they went to find Tianzhiban and his parents, Tianquiliang and Zhongquilin. The three of them were still cursing and wanted to complain to Xietingzhou and the other three, but they were under the eaves, so it was useless for them to say anything now. Qianyu's second-degree injuries were enough to sentence Tianzhiban to at least 3 years in prison. If this was coupled with home invasion robbery and attempted home invasion murder, it probably wouldn't be a big deal. In the end, the police did get Qianyu's own real estate certificate from Zhongquilin, which was considered conclusive evidence. As long as Qianyu was determined to follow the Tian family to fight to the end, they would definitely be able to send all three of them in. After the three got the evidence, they went to the hospital, where Qianyuiyu just woke up, and they brought Qianyuiyu dinner. Thank you, comrade police. Qianyuiyu was sitting on the hospital bed, her face was pale, and her head was tied with gauze. She looked very pitiful at this time. In addition, her parents had passed away and there was no one to take care of her. Qianyuiyu blushed at the food brought by the police. Thank you. Our police have already obtained your information and determined that you have applied for divorce from your husband Tianzhiban before, but it was temporarily failed because of the divorce cooling off period. Today Tianzhiban forced his way in with his parents Tian Quiliang and Zhang Quilin. Your property certificate was even robbed in your rental house. At least one break-in and robbery was established, and your injury assessment has reached a second-level minor injury. If you sue Tianzhiban, whether it is based on assault and provocation or break-in, if you commit attempted murder, the law will give you the most just sentence. Long Liuyun told Qianyuiyu about the case in detail after dinner. In fact, the circumstances of this kind of domestic violence case are very simple. It depends on whether the person involved is ruthless. As long as he is ruthless, it can be solved. Of course, if you don't want to come forward, I know a lawyer who specializes in divorce lawsuits and lawsuits to protect women's rights. She can fully represent you to solve this case. She can divorce you and Tianzhiban smoothly, and even send Tian Quiliang and Zhang Quilin together. Go in. This is a good result for Qianyuiyu. Upon hearing this statement, Qianyuiyu's eyes lit up, and her red eyes were filled with tears. Thank you, comrade police. I really wanted to divorce Tianzhiban before. When I was not married before, I never thought that this person would be like this. He said that he would be good to me all his life, so I married him. It's just that less than a year after we got married, he started beating me when he was drunk. After the beating, he would kneel on the ground and apologize when he sobered up. At that time, I was soft-hearted and thought what this beast said was true, but then I got pregnant and gave birth. Daughter, when he beat me harder, I knew that these were all lies from this beast. She couldn't help but tell her what happened to her. For her, it all seemed like a nightmare. In fact, many women who suffer domestic violence initially do it because the man was accidental when he was drunk. When the man sobers up, he will immediately kneel on the ground and apologize, giving various guarantees and saying that he doesn't dare anymore. If you get drunk, the next time you get drunk, it will be the time to repeat your old tricks. You victims are just stupid. You believe whatever others say and don't even think about it. Why didn't this man hit his boss when he was drunk? Why didn't he hit the passers-by outside? Why didn't he hit his parents but he hit you instead? It's just a test. Your bottom line is that if they succeed once, they will keep repeating the same trick, getting harder and harder every time. You know serial murderers, right? This kind of serial murderer is like a domestic violence man who succeeds in committing a crime for the first time. After that, no one found out, and he would continue to commit crimes, and finally formed an addictive method of committing crimes, and he was called a serial murderer. Guo Ran sympathizes and thinks that people who believe in domestic violence are stupid. They are blinded by their emotions and have completely forgotten that protecting one's body is the most important thing. Protecting one's own safety is the first priority at all times. So if you are sober now, for the sake of your daughter, you should stay away from domestic violence men. In this way, your daughter will not have psychological shadow when she grows up. According to scientific research, children who grow up in an environment of domestic violence will have some psychological shadow. The probability of men becoming domestic violence will be as high as more than 80%. The chance of women being domestically abused will also increase because they have been exposed to domestic violence since childhood. I saw my mother being domestically abused, so I have a high tolerance for domestic violence. Comrade police, thank you for being willing to say these things to me. I know what to do. I want to divorce him and I want to send him to prison. Qianyuiyu is not an ungrateful person, so now she has understood that she has the right time, place, and people, and can just kill her husband's family in one fell swoop. This is the best time to take action. When Long Liun heard this, she felt very good. After all, she was also a girl, and she hoped that this woman could be saved. Okay, I'll contact a lawyer for you right now. According to their behavior, they will be sent to prison. And don't worry, when the time comes for you to divorce Tianzhiban, your property will not be lost. Long Liun, an excellent lawyer friend, is best at divorce cases, so naturally he can help Qianyuiyu. Qianyuiyu also smiled, as if thinking of her daughter. Actually, I want to say that as long as I can get a divorce, it's fine without money, but I have to support my daughter. Although I have money, if I can have more money, my daughter can live a better life. Officer Long, really thank you, and Officer Guo, I understand what you mean. In fact, my parents are the best couple in the world. I thought that my husband and I would be as happy as my parents, but I didn't expect that I met an inhumane person, but for the sake of my daughter, I will do well. When this matter is over, I will raise my daughter well. Although she was alone, with the support of the police, Qianyuiyu was not afraid. Xie Tingzhou looked at the girl who had suffered so much, then looked at the two figures beside the girl, and took the taking out the talisman. He stretched out his hand towards Qianyuiyu. It's not just you, there is someone who is always with you and watching you. Qianyuiyu didn't know why, but she stretched out her hand. The next moment, Xie Tingzhou took a knife from nowhere and cut Qianyuiyu's hand. 2 talisman papers were quickly drawn. Then in this ward, the moment the yellow talisman was pasted, there were 2 more people standing in front of the hospital bed. They were a middle-aged couple. The woman's appearance was very similar to Qianyuiyu, and the man was also distressed. Look at Qianyuiyu. These 2 people were none other than Qianyuiyu's biological parents, who died in a car accident when Qianyuiyu was 20 years old. Dad, Mom. Qianyuiyu burst into tears and looked at the 2 ghosts in front of her in disbelief. It has been 8 years since her parents passed away. Every time Qianyuiyu was in the most painful time, she would hold the photos of her parents and cry. When she saw her parents again, Qianyuiyu suddenly lost her previous strong look and was with her children. He cried with the same grievance. Qianqinglin looked at his crying daughter, watched his wife hugging her daughter's body, and reached out to pat her daughter's hair. My dear, it's all over. Mom and Dad are watching. My dear, you have worked very hard to survive these years. Thinking that they left their daughter alone in this world and let her work hard to survive, even to be in the current situation, she has already worked very, very hard. They are so good and live a very hard life. Good man, he has a golden finger. Author, Zhanghu Buletin Jian. Chapter 242. People become ghosts after death, but they don't necessarily realize when they become ghosts, and they don't necessarily have the ability to kill. For example, Qianyuiyu's parents, Qianqinglin and Li Yongxiang, died in a car accident. That was 8 years ago. People who die in car accidents will be physically damaged, and the instant death will make the ghosts dazed for a long time. Some may even be devoured by other evil ghosts when they recover. The 2 ghosts Qianqinglin and Li Yongxiang can follow them. It's not easy to stay with my daughter for 8 years. Seeing that they are about to disappear, if I hadn't met Xie Tingzhou, I'm afraid that in another 2 years, the existence of the ghost will be gone. After comforting his crying daughter, Qianqinglin looked at the tall man in police uniform. The couple had become ghosts for 8 years and relied on each other. They also encountered other evil ghosts. If they hadn't helped each other, they might have died. They have been devoured by other evil spirits for a long time, and now they can see and say a word to their daughter again, which is the most gratifying thing in the world for both of them. Thank you to the police officer for helping me and my wife see our daughter again. In the past 8 years, my wife and I were in a state of confusion in the first year. We only regained consciousness in the second year and came to our daughter. We watched her living alone but were unable to help. I am really worried in my heart. Seeing my daughter's suffering in the past few years, as a parent, I feel even more distressed, but because I have turned into a ghost, I am unable to help. Now that my daughter is free from that beast, my wife and I can also see our daughter again. Is enough. Qianqinglin really didn't expect that after he turned into a ghost, he and his wife kept wandering around his daughter, but they couldn't touch any people or objects. But now he could hold his daughter to comfort him, and he could feel his soul body it is gradually declining, but I didn't expect that after meeting Officer Xie today, it would actually get better. Xie Tingzhou was in a good mood when he saw the family reunited. The talisman given to you today uses your daughter's blood. From today on, you can stay by your daughter's side, and you can touch people who are related to Qianyuiyu, as well as items around Qianyuiyu. Except for Qianyuiyu and her blood relatives, no one will see you after walking out of this room, so it can be regarded as a family reunion. Without the domestically violent scumbag, the couple who turned into ghosts can still take care of Qianyuiyu and Qianyuiyu's daughter. This is probably the best ending. When Qianyuiyu heard that her parents could stay with her, she was immediately surprised and couldn't believe it. Officer Xie, can my parents really stay with me? She was so surprised that her voice trembled. The two ghosts Li Yongxiang and Qianqinglin also looked at Xie Tingzhou in disbelief. Of course it is, Qianqinglin, Li Yongxiang, since you two have been ghosts for 8 years, you naturally understand that ghosts in this world have nowhere to go, and there is no child to cast. The thing you can't let go of most in this world is your daughter. Qianyuiyu, staying with her now is also a blessing. As soon as these words came out, Guo Ran and Long Liuyun felt more clearly for the first time that Xie Tingzhou was different from ordinary people. Thank you, police officer. I kowtow to you. Li Yongxiang didn't know how to express her gratitude. Even if she turned into a ghost, all she could do was kowtow to Xie Tingzhou, including Qianqinglin. Xie Tingzhou did not hide this time, but just explained how Qianyuiyu should get along with her ghost parents. After leaving the hospital and sitting in the car back to the police station, Guo Ran couldn't help but sigh. Tingzhou, when I heard you talking to Qianyuiyu's parents, I really felt that you have the temperament of a master. If a person turns into a ghost and stays around humans after death, then, you can see it? Guo Ran asked. After all, he thought that although Qianyuiyu had suffered for several years, he would not be afraid if his parents were with him afterwards, even if he knew that his parents were ghosts, right? The only people in this world who want their children to be well are their parents. Even if they become ghosts, they still want to protect their children. Yes, Xie Tingzhou nodded. Generally, the ghosts who can stay with people are good ghosts who have meritorious deeds in life and have not turned into evil ghosts after death. That's why Xie Tingzhou is willing to give them such an opportunity. The metaphysics system has issued a lot of rewards. Xie Tingzhou has temporarily stored them in the system and has not taken them out. Tingzhou, will you and Guo Ran come to my house for dinner this weekend? My mother said she wants to invite you to my house for dinner. Long Liuyun suddenly said such words. Xie Tingzhou turned to look at her and nodded in agreement. Okay, I haven't eaten my aunt's food for a long time. Guo Ran seemed to have thought of something, but finally opened his mouth and said nothing. Long Liuyun's father died in a bank robbery, and Xie Tingzhou can see ghosts, but has never seen Long Liuyun's father. This inevitably makes people feel sad. Maybe Long Liuyun also hopes to show Xie Tingzhou at home. See the figure of my father. After the three returned to the police station, they sorted out the case again. The police station was very busy in the next few days. Qianyuiyu did not show up from beginning to end. It was the lawyer Long Liuyun helped find who took on the heavy responsibility of litigating the case. After obtaining a lot of clear evidence, Tian's attempted murder failed. There is no way to escape, and Tian Quiliang and Zhang Quilin can also be convicted of home invasion and robbery. Not only that, Tian's and Qian Yuiyu finally got their divorce certificate. Tian's family wanted to resist stubbornly, but Qian Yuiyu's parents came once, well, that kind of thing, in the middle of the night. The next morning, Tian's family instantly pleaded guilty. After all, if you plead guilty, you will only go to jail. If you don't plead guilty and see ghosts every night, you will really die. Through this case, the police in the police station also suggested that Yu Xiao pretend to be a ghost to scare people, but Mao Kun taught her a lesson. He also specially called Yu Xiao and told her not to listen to others and to learn good things instead of bad things. In a week, Qian Yuiyu had left the hospital. She thanked all the people who helped in the rental community, and then took her parents and her daughter back to the house her parents bought for her. Because of the talisman, Qian Qinglin and Li Yongxiang's ghost energy will not affect anyone, and as long as the daughter and the daughter are related by blood, they can touch the objects appropriately. This also led to the fact that when Long Liuyun and Guo Ran came to talk about the case and show their concern again, they saw Li Yongxiang holding the child and coaxing him. Qian Qinglin made a large table of delicious food, and Qian Yuiyu had picked up her work again. Everything seemed to be the best. Originally, they agreed to go to Long Liuyun's house for dinner, but before they went, someone from above came. After Xieting Zhou handed over the yin-yang talisman, no one believed that there were really ghosts in this world. As a result, when they used the yin-yang talisman and saw the ghosts in person, they had to believe it. Especially in some special places, when they found that they saw a lot of ghosts, they understood that what Xieting Zhou said was true. There were more and more ghosts. If they became stronger, sooner or later they would hurt humans. The above quickly set up a special action team, called the Metaphysics Research Team, which was very down-to-earth. This time, the team was led by a general from the 9th Military Intelligence Department, which made the police station on Yangzhou Avenue shine. It can be said that even the director has never seen such a high-ranking official. The questioning took place in the most private space of the police station. "Hello, I am Lu Yunjia, the leader of the Metaphysics Research Team." Lu Yunjia, the special director of the National Military Intelligence Department 9, has the rank of general and is 46 years old this year. "Hello, I am Pan Sheng, an operative of the Metaphysics Research Team." Pan Sheng, originally a Special Forces soldier from the Snow Leopard Special Forces, is 28 years old this year. "Hello, I am Yu Ziyufeng, from the National Science and Technology Research Department. Our entire research center is now crazy about the existence of ghosts." Yu Ziyufeng, a top national researcher, comes from the National Research Institute and is 58 years old this year. Yan Haiming, from the National Science and Technology Research Department. This Yan Haiming has the same identity. They came to Xieting Zhou at this time, and they also wanted to know more news. Xieting Zhou looked at the four people in front of him, but he was very calm. "As you can see, there are more and more ghosts in this world, some are good ghosts and some are evil ghosts. In order to become stronger, evil ghosts will devour other ghosts. Once they become powerful, they can kill people without being seen. So I came to you to deal with future attacks by evil ghosts. We need an army of ghosts." This is what the original owner did at that time. The original owner had such a metaphysical system at the beginning, and through various weird things, he included many ghosts in the system, signed a master-servant contract, and turned these ghosts into his slaves. After relying on these ghosts for decades, and having mastered money and power in the human world, the Ghost King and his evil ghosts came out in full force, and humans were facing the danger of extinction. Do you think the original owner will save people and become the savior in a minute? Oh no, he just watched 2/3 of humans being destroyed, and then took the opportunity to achieve himself in the troubled times, using the ghosts in his hands to deal with those evil ghosts, and finally the three-legged tripod, the Ghost King, the original owner, and the human faction. After all, the original owner was a human being. He knew that it would be no good for him if all humans died, so he signed an agreement with humans and helped them to destroy the Ghost King. However, he signed contracts with all the evil ghosts that had not yet dissipated. From then on, even humans did not dare to touch him at all. Everything was fine until the original owner died. Unfortunately, the moment the original owner died, millions of evil ghosts rushed up and swallowed the original owner's ghost after his death, and finally dissipated completely. In the end, the evil ghosts still came out in full force and killed all the humans. Xieting Zhou did not like a world full of evil ghosts. Besides, ghosts were divided into good ghosts and evil ghosts. Since the evil ghosts wanted to make trouble, why not combine the good ghosts to fight? Humans cannot fight ghosts, but if they are all ghosts, they can, and even if they become ghosts, these ghosts still have people they want to protect. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Good man, he has a golden finger. Author, Zhanghu Buletin. Chapter 243. Comrade Xieting Zhou, we came here this time to ask for your help. The yin-yang talisman you asked Chief Wang to bring has allowed us to confirm the existence of ghosts, and we have seen the female ghost Yu Ziaoa in your Yangzhou Avenue police station. We ourselves have seen some ghosts wandering around the world, and we still want to ask, what is going on? It can be said that during this period, everyone's ideas are being broken and reshaped. Even if some of us once believed that there would be a new world after death, or that there would be a soul after death, they did not expect that these days there is no way to reincarnate after death. Ghosts are floating in the world. After they used the yin and yang talisman before, they saw many ghosts of martyrs at the martyrs' cemetery, all of them young. Director Wang must have told you, but I will simply repeat it. It is simply that the channel for reincarnation in the underworld is gone, and ghosts cannot reincarnate. Evil ghosts will begin to devour other souls and grow stronger, and then gradually gather other evil ghosts. Sooner or later, one day they will move toward the light in darkness and launch a war against humans. They cannot be reincarnated, so the method they choose is most likely to possess people and turn them into their containers, and they will eventually become living dead. Xieting Zhou has seen such a situation in his memory. When evil ghosts appear in the light, they will be absorbed into the human body. This is the so-called ghost body. However, the human body is yang, and the ghost is yin. In this case, the human body within a few years, the body was wasted, eventually turning into a walking zombie, and then in less than 10 years, it was completely wasted. This is why Xieting Zhou said that in the end all humans will be killed by ghosts. When the four people heard this, they immediately sat upright, not daring to imagine how all this would happen, so they heard Xieting Zhou say again. But there are evil people and kind people, and the same goes for ghosts. There are good ghosts and evil ghosts. Good ghosts usually linger around loved ones. I can let you use the yin and yang talisman to see ghosts. Naturally, there is a way for you to come into contact with ghosts. After saying that, Xieting Zhou placed the pile of yellow paper that he had prepared on the table, and then stretched out his hand to the people in front of him. Pan Sheng directly stretched out his hand, not afraid of Xieting Zhou. I saw Xieting Zhou cut a mark on the climbing hand with a knife, then quickly drew a spell on the yellow paper with blood, and then put a band-aid on the other person. This talisman is the Requiem talisman. It is used together with the yin and yang talisman. After using the yin and yang talisman, the Requiem talisman is attached to the ghost. It can stabilize the ghost's soul and even make the ghost's ability continue to grow. But there is a prerequisite, that is, the use of this Requiem must have a blood relationship or a unique bond with the ghost. The Requiem amulet had been placed in Pan Sheng's hand. Pan Shen was stunned, not knowing who he was thinking of, but Yu Ziyufeng and Lu Yunja's eyes lit up, and Lu Yunja continued. Comrade Xie is still awesome. When we came here, we had already seen Yu Xiao. Is there a requiem on her body? Yu Xiao can be regarded as an evil ghost, but after Comrade Xie helped her fulfill her wish, she was willing to stay. He is really a good kid who helps in the police station. Comrade Xie, we have understood what you mean, and we have already made the yin and yang talisman. Lu Yunja took out the yin yang talisman they made. It looked similar to the one given by Xie Tingzhou. Xie Tingzhou was very interested. He stretched out his hand and took the yin yang talisman. The incantation on the yellow talisman was exactly the same as the one produced by the system. It's not surprising. There are some capable people in this world. It's normal to be able to copy this yin-yang talisman. After all, if you want to save the world with one person's ability, isn't that a joke? This yin-yang talisman is well made. Even so, I feel at ease. Here is the Requiem talisman. You can find someone to make it and arrange it? I believe you have a method. He took out hundreds of Requiem charms. As soon as he handed them over, Yu Ziyufen became extremely happy. After all, this thing can be used on ghosts to communicate with ghosts and even allow ghosts to touch human beings. Things, just like Yu Ziyufen has already observed. In addition to her body being cold and floating all day long, Yu Xiao works better than normal people. Of course, apart from that, there is something different about ghosts, that is, ghosts don't seem to need to eat much. In fact, Lu Yunja and the others came here this time because several old experts from the National Research Institute had passed away. After using the yin-yang talisman, they discovered that the ghosts of these deceased old experts were still in the National Research Institute, and they seemed to be still thinking about it. Once there was no finished job, they wanted to find out if Xie Tingzhou could do anything. Now that they saw the Requiem, they didn't need to bother Xie Tingzhou. Xie Tingzhou handed over the Requiem talisman just so that the people above could make it. How to arrange it was not his business. Comrade Xie, thank you very much for your trust and cooperation in the country. We will make this Requiem right away. If you have anything, you can contact our special metaphysics team as soon as possible. In addition, this is a new message brought to you. Identity. He handed over a new file bag to the members of the special team of metaphysics. After opening it, it contains Xie Tingzhou's new identity certificate, the master of the National Special Team of Metaphysics. The key is that it has a military rank on it, which means that in the current police station, Xie Tingzhou can completely walk sideways. I know that Comrade Xie is a police officer on Yongzhou Avenue. He likes to help ordinary people. If you encounter something that cannot be solved, you can use this identity to ask various police stations to cooperate with the investigation. Thank you Comrade Xie for your trust in us. Such a master can see ghosts and make a random spell to make an evil ghost work obediently in the police station. How powerful is he? The higher UPS naturally cherished him very much. In addition, Xie Tingzhou was not like those weird masters and didn't put on airs, so he was naturally liked. After knowing that ghosts were wreaking havoc in places in the world that humans could not see, the people above looked for them in many places, including temples, Taoist temples, and masters. However, what people believed before things seem false now. These so-called respected masters can't even see the existence of ghosts. How can anyone trust the identity of the other party? Well, thank you, Team Leader Lu. Don't worry, I'm just an ordinary little policeman and I won't use such things indiscriminately. Xie Tingzhou was quite satisfied with the current situation and added, hurry up and make preparations. In 40 years, I predict that a ghost king will be born in 40 years. By that time, if humans are not prepared, then the world will be full of walking dead. Don't blame me for not warning you. There is very little time left for mankind, only 40 years. If evil spirits invade, the world will collapse sooner or later. Comrade Xie, don't worry about this, we will give you a reasonable response. Even if they are faced with the Ghost King 40 years from now, they still have to find a way to deal with it. The entire National Metaphysics Research team came and went in a hurry. No one knew what they said to Xie Tingzhou, but looking at the serious look on their faces before leaving, they knew something must have gone wrong. Xie Tingzhou remained calm. After walking out of the conference room, he went to find Long Liuyun. Let's go and eat. Is Auntie at home today? Long Liuyun thought Xie Tingzhou had forgotten this matter, but he didn't expect that the other party still remembered it and immediately started laughing. Yes, I told my mother that you and Guo Ran were going there, and my mother was very happy. Long Liuyun's mother's surname was Zheng, and her name was Zheng Rui. She was a very strong and stubborn woman, otherwise she would not have been able to marry a policeman. Later, after her husband died, she raised her daughter up and made her a very outstanding woman. A police officer, she also supports her husband's parents and her own parents. She is an admirable woman. Now Zheng Rui and Long Liuyun live alone in a house, so the happiest time is when her daughter brings her colleagues to the house for dinner. Where's Guo Ran? Xie Tingzhou asked. Long Liuyun blinked and his teasing look made Xie Tingzhou react instantly. Going to deliver toilet paper to people or looking for cats? That's right, poor Guo Ran is always sent out to do this kind of thing. There was no toilet paper in the park on the west side. Someone was in there and couldn't get out. He went over. After saying this, Long Liuyun suddenly laughed. The two of them had just finished cleaning up, and the miserable Guo Ran came back as expected. Ouch! I don't want to do this kind of paper delivery job anymore. Guo Ran complained, and realized when he saw Long Liuyun and Xie Tingzhou packing their things. Going to Aunt's place for dinner. Long Liuyun nodded, and Guo Ran felt much better now. He quickly cleaned himself up. They took off their police uniforms and went out to drive home in their regular clothes. The car arrived directly at the community where Long Liuyun's home was located. Xie Tingzhou and Guo Ran followed behind. After reaching the 20th floor, they opened the door and smelled the aroma of various foods, which they both loved. Liuyun is back. Tingzhou, Xiao Ran, come in quickly. The food is ready. Wash your hands and eat quickly. Zheng Rui's eyes shone with joy when she saw the three people, while Xie Tingzhou laughed when she saw the people beside her. Soon the three of them sat at the dining table. Zheng Rui also prepared all the dishes and sat down. Only the main seat was empty. Long Liuyun couldn't help but look at Xie Tingzhou with a bit of pleading in his eyes. Tingzhou. Xie Tingzhou understood what she meant, smiled, looked at Zheng Rui in front of him and said, Auntie, I heard Liuyun said that your birthday will be in a few days. I wish you a happy birthday in advance and give you a gift. Zheng Rui naturally laughed when he heard this and just waved his hands. As long as you say this, what else should I give you as a gift? On my birthday, buy a big cake and let Liuyun bring you to my house for dinner and fun together. She is a wonderful mother and a wonderful wife. Xie Tingzhou took out the talisman paper in front of Long Liuyun and Guo Ran, and their eyes suddenly lit up. Before Zheng Rui could react, he saw Xie Tingzhou drawing the talisman paper with Long Liuyun's blood. Then stick it on the main seat. In an instant, a young man wearing a blue police uniform appeared in front of everyone. This was Long Liuyun's father. He was only 31 years old when he died. Now, Long Liuyun is already 24 years old. Zheng Rui suddenly saw her husband who had sacrificed for many years, and was stunned. Then she stared blankly in disbelief, and tears continued to fall. Good man, he has a golden finger. Author, Zhanghu Bulletin Jian. Chapter 244. Long Liuyun's father has a name that doesn't fit the name of a police officer. His name is Long Han Biao. When you suddenly hear it, Do you think he should be a big boss from a social organization? But in fact, the reason why Long Han Biao was named this was just because his parents were crazy about TV dramas at the time, and they thought Brother Biao sounded awesome. Although he never thought about letting his son be a big brother, Long Han Biao turned out to be 1.8 meters tall and strong. He graduated from the police station early. When he was young, he had a dream, thinking that he could save people. World, but later in the police force when he was in his 30s, he became an ordinary policeman. Until he died. The bank robbery involving gangsters with guns was the biggest accident Long Han Biao had ever encountered. In the process of cooperating with the police outside, in order to save the hostages held hostage, Long Han Biao was shot 5 times. In the end, didn't even wait for rescue. To this day, the 4 hostages rescued by Long Han Biao still come to visit Long's house during the holidays and express their feelings. This makes Long Han Biao, who has always stayed by his wife's side, feel that his death is at least meaningful. Wife Long Han Biao stood up directly. He had been secretly looking at his wife before. Now he was above board, but he didn't dare to do anything. He walked over and carefully wiped his wife's tears, and then looked at her who was also crying. Dragon hunting cloud. Lai Yun, Dad has been watching you and Mom all these years. You are excellent and Dad is proud of you. And your mom? She is the person Dad is most sorry for in his life. He has suffered so much for her. He was talking to his daughter, and why not to his wife? Zheng Rui felt her husband's cold temperature, stretched out her hand, and found that she could actually touch her husband. Long Han Biao. Do you still know that you are sorry for me? Zheng Rui said this, but she already hugged her husband. Even though this husband was extremely cold, even though she had seen her husband's dead body before and personally sent her husband to the crematorium, but now, when she sees her husband again, Zheng Rui still didn't have any fear in her heart, only happiness and joy. Long Liun also walked over and was hugged by Long Han Biao. After that, Long Han Biao asked the children to eat first and talk about anything later. Guo Ran and Xie Zhou were fed enthusiastically during this meal, especially after seeing the ghost of her husband Long Han Biao and learning that many ghosts now have no chance to reincarnate and stay in the human world. Zheng Rui knew about Xie who's now that I was able, I thank Xie Zhou in every possible way. After finishing the meal, Guo Ran and Xie Zhou said their goodbyes tacitly, leaving time for Zheng Rui, Long Liun and Long Han Biao. After the two of them walked out of the door and drove downstairs, Guo Ran smiled belatedly as he sat in the driver's seat. That's great. How lucky is it that the dead lover can come back to you and that the father you once cherished the most can appear like a protector again. Maybe some ghosts are very scary to normal people, but for their families, isn't it a joy to see these ghosts again? By the way, Tingzhou, since Lai Yun's father is staying with her mother, will my grandma also stay with grandpa? Just like the old man who accompanied his son to withdraw money. Won't. Xie Tingzhou gave a cruel answer and looked at Guo Randao. Old people are the end of their normal lifespan. Generally, they will only stay with their family members for 7 to 10 days. Ghosts that can generally stay with humans for a long time are mostly people who died in vain or died young, because they are human beings. The lifespan of a ghost is short, so as a ghost, it is naturally stronger. Have you ever heard of ghost babies? The abilities and soul length of ghosts are opposite to those of humans. The smaller the ghost, the easier it is to become a powerful ghost and the more crazy it is to kill. This is why in many metaphysical legends, most of them have something to do with children, such as the 5 ghosts to bring wealth, borrowing luck, Gumentung, etc., because the child died just after birth, and there is resentment. If you are extremely deep, you will naturally turn into a powerful ghost, so you may have contact and communication with people from the beginning. For example, most of the ghosts who normally grow old and die have low abilities, or their 7 souls and 3 souls are scattered, or they are swallowed by other ghosts. Okay, I understand that too. Guo Ran thought of his grandma who died at a healthy age. Knowing that her grandma died at the end of a normal lifespan, he didn't have much regret. Suddenly I thought of what happened in the police station. The special team of metaphysics above came to see you today. I saw that the scene was very grand. The director bowed his head when he saw it. You are calm. You didn't follow others. You are a popular drinker. Guo Ran finally understood what his brother was capable of, so now he was a little curious about why Xieting Zhou didn't go with his special team. The treatment will definitely be good then. I was given a new position certificate and don't need to participate in the operation for the time being. If they have any questions, they will come to me. Xieting Zhou answered, thinking that he had been given a salary increase and even patent money for the Yin-Yang Talisman and the Requiem Talisman. Although it was not much, only a few million, Xieting Zhou could buy whatever he wanted now. Got economic freedom. Guo Ran knew that he shouldn't ask any more questions about such a secret organization, so he sent Xieting Zhou back home. Then he returned home slowly. He always felt that since he discovered the existence of ghosts, everything seemed to be turned upside down. Changed. Just as Guo Ran said, the world is changing quietly. The National Metaphysics Special Team, who got the Requiem, visited the families of the martyrs in Shangjing City at extremely fast speed. The Huang family lives on the Third Ring Road in Shangjing City. The house was bought for their son to get married a few years ago. Later, when his son died on the battlefield, this became the place where the Huang family lived. They always worshipped their sacrificed son. Huang Tianyang, who served as a soldier in Xinjiang 3 years ago, died at the border. After fighting with foreign enemy troops, he died heroically. The whole country was shocked at that time because several soldiers died at the same time, and Huang Tianyang was only 19 years old at the time. This young man whose life has just begun has already left himself at the border, just to protect the peace of the country and all safe people. Huang Tianyang's father, Huang Mingzhong, and mother, Huang Li, fainted immediately after learning about this incident. They also had a little daughter who had been waiting for their brother to come home, but what finally arrived was Huang Tianyang's urn covered with the national flag. After that battle, Huang Tianyang was named a first-class martyr. Huang Mingzhong and Huang Li were heartbroken at their son's funeral. Who can understand the pain of a white-haired man sending a black-haired man away? Even Huang Tianyang's 10-year-old little sister vaguely knew from the adults that her brother would never come back. After that funeral, Huang Tianyang became a hero in everyone's mind. Every now and then someone would report that the country and the people had not forgotten who this child died for. After Huang Tianyang's death, Huang Mingzhong and Huang Li moved their daughter to the wedding room originally prepared for their son. Every year, their son's former comrades would call or come over to set up, and the leaders would come one after another. Even my daughter said that when she grows up, she will be like her brother and be a soldier who protects the country. Today, my daughter hasn't finished school yet, and the two of them have a new leader. This person is none other than Lu Yunjia and his party. After presenting his identity certificate, Lu Yunjia spoke. Soldier Huang Tianyang is the hero of our country and the hero in everyone's heart. If you have the chance, would you like to see him again? As a parent, how could you not want to? Of course, team leader Lu, we all dream about our son suddenly appearing. Although 3 years have passed, in my wife's and my heart, our son has never left. Huang Mingzhong's eyes were red, and Huang Li was already crying. She still couldn't accept the death of her son. Team leader Lu, we really miss Yang. We don't know how he is doing now, whether he has been reincarnated or not, and whether he is doing well or not. They all know that a dead person cannot be resurrected, so they worship day and night just to prevent their son from suffering in the next life. Lu Yunjia, who had already used the Yin and Yang talisman, saw Huang Tianyang with red eyes beside him, and knew that this child also missed his parents. He took out the yin-yang talisman that he had prepared long ago and asked the Huang family and his wife to drip blood on it. Although the two of them didn't know what was going on, they still cooperated obediently and then attached the bloody yin-yang talisman to the two of them. They saw their son standing in the living room wearing a military uniform. He was the son who died 3 years ago, the son they had not seen for 5 years. Tianyang. The couple simply couldn't believe it. When they stretched out their hands to touch their son, they passed through his body. They could only see the son opening his mouth to call his parents, but they couldn't hear him. Team leader Lu, what's going on? I seem to have seen Tianyang with my wife. Didn't Tianyang die? The existence of such a ghost shocked Huang Mingzhong, and what Lu Yunjia said next shocked the two of them even more. He talked about the ghosts left in the world, and then asked the two of them to choose one to drip blood on the Requiem charm, and then put the Requiem charm on Huang Tianyang. At this moment, they finally heard the familiar voice of their son. Mom and Dad, I'm back and I see you again. Huang Tianyang knelt on the ground directly, looking at the way his parents' hair turned gray all of a sudden, knowing how much his death had affected his parents. He knelt on the ground and burst into tears, and was then hugged tightly by the Huang family and his wife. At this moment, the National Metaphysics Special Team was very sure of their future direction. Since they are dealing with ghosts, they must have an army of ghosts. What is more suitable than a ghost who is more loyal than a martyr and still has concerns in the world? After the family had finished crying, Lu Yunjia looked at the Huang family very seriously and said, "Our country has detected that ghosts have been unable to reincarnate in recent years, and even evil ghosts will cause trouble in the future. In order to protect more living people, we have adopted new methods to bring back the ghosts of the soldiers. The country is very grateful to Soldier Huang Tianyang for his contribution to the country. Protection and protection of the people. In the days to come, they will continue to protect more living people. This time we are here to sign a new army contract. Mr. Huang, Ms. Huang, and now your son Huang Tianyang is a ghost. He can stay with you, but it's up to you to decide whether to let him regain his military status. This child had already contributed himself to the country and the people during his lifetime. If he chose to stay with his parents now, Lu Yunjia would not think it was bad. But the next moment, Huang Tianyang spoke directly. Team leader Lu, I still want to be a soldier. I am a soldier. My duty is to protect the people at all times. Huang Tianyang saluted Lu Yunjia, his posture was straight. If it weren't for his pale face, who would have thought that the young man in front of him was a ghost? But even after death, he still firmly confirmed his identity as a soldier and was willing to fight for the people again. The Huang couple also reacted. Seeing their son like this, although they cried, they still nodded. Yes, listen to Yang. Yang is a hero. It would be a waste for him to stay with us. If the country needs him, let Yang go, anytime. As long as they saw their son once, the couple was already satisfied. Good man, he has a golden finger. Author, Zhanghu Buletin Jian. Chapter 245. The special team of metaphysics has already studied it. Since according to Xieting Zhou, a ghost king will inevitably appear in 40 years and lead evil ghosts to attack humans, then they must also take corresponding measures. The report has been sent out in advance, and then Huangholm is the first testing point. In fact, the country has not forced the martyrs who have sacrificed to continue to protect the people in the future. But judging from Huang Tianyang's behavior, it is not a fantastic idea for their country to organize a ghost corps. They might really can be formed. In this way, Huang Tianyang stayed at the Huang family and spent the days of reunion with his parents. Although Huang Tianyang could not eat, he was very happy just being with his parents. He even met his children who were starting to grow up. Sister, the whole family is in a good mood. When the little sister of the Huang family learned that her brother had become a ghost and had to serve as a soldier to protect them, She shed tears but still supported him. I know that my brother wants to protect me and more people like me. If there is really a bad guy, then my brother will definitely beat him away. The most numerous people in the world are ordinary people. The existence of warriors is to protect these ordinary people from living a stable and peaceful life. 3 days later, Lu Yunjia came to the Huang family with the latest confidentiality contract. This time it was the Ghost Corps confidentiality contract customized by the above. This contract involved an agreement on the confidentiality of the ghost soldiers in the short term, as well as the subsequent treatment issues. Although Huang Tianyang has become a ghost, if he joins the Ghost Corps and becomes an emerging force in the country, he will still be paid. Especially for ghosts, they don't need all kinds of materials. It's equivalent to a ghost army for free. They only need ordinary time to train. Whether they can feed the ghosts depends on Master Xia's opinion. Therefore, the country will give ghost soldiers who are willing to protect the people again. Got treated very well. This treatment is naturally subsidized to the parents of the Huang family. Huang Tianyang, who re-signs the contract, will receive a salary of 12,000 yuan a month, which will then be distributed to the parents of the Huang family separately. It can be said that the treatment is very good. In this way, I can stay in the military and support my sister in college. My parents won't have to work so hard. Huang Tianyang also received compensation from the families of martyrs. Although it was not that much, it was paid every month. With the salary from re-entering the military, he could really support his family. As long as your parents are still here, that's fine. We'll be happy if you, Captain Lu, and the others go to establish a new legion. The parents of the Huang family are really happy these days. After all, they see their son again. Although they know that their son cannot be reincarnated, they are still proud after learning that their son has become a ghost and can protect the people of the country, because this is their hero. My son, even after death, will protect this land, so how can the Huang family be unhappy? After signing a new confidentiality agreement, Lu Yunjia once again took out a piece of yellow talisman paper. This talisman paper was very powerful. The moment Lu Yunjia asked Huang Tianyang to put his hand on it, Huang Tianyang was directly absorbed into it as a ghost. In this yellow paper, this is the 10,000 ghost talisman. Each one can hold 10,000 ghosts. They will be released when they arrive at the training base. Don't worry, the country will treat these soldiers well. After Lu Yunjia made the guarantee, the Huang family felt at ease and sent Lu Yunjia away. This 1,000 ghost talisman was sent by Xie Tingzhou. He met several ghosts and after solving their problems, the system presented 10,000 ghost talismans, and Xie Tingzhou happened to give them to Lu Yunjia. From this day on, the families of martyrs in many areas also encountered leaders coming to visit them. No one knew what happened in their homes, but they only knew that after the leaders left, the families of these martyrs were very happy. The special team of metaphysics found that most of the ghosts they saw were ghosts under the age of 50, preferably those whose death time was between less than 10 and 15 years, and some who were more than 15 years old. Gone. The National Operations Office was the fastest, quickly copying the Yin and Yang talisman, quickly copying the Requiem talisman, and then sent the souls of these soldiers who had sacrificed for the country back home one by one. They will not force these ghost soldiers to become soldiers again, but will give them two choices. This martyr can stay at home to accompany his family, wife, and children, or he can choose to become a soldier again to protect the people, and the salary and benefits will be higher. A lot of. It can be said that the final choice of many soldiers is to return to the Ghost Corps. After all, they have been soldiers for a long time and have been dead for many years. They are naturally relieved to see their parents, wives, and children living a good life, and they want to continue to give the country contributes. However, the country also guarantees that because of the Ghost Corps, there will be more developments in the future, so there will be opportunities for everyone to come back to visit relatives in the future. The country set up agencies and units to manage the Ghost Corps as quickly as possible, which are all about managing the relationship between ghosts and living people. Every ghost has someone they care about in the world, and it is precisely because of the people they care about. That's why I am more willing to do something to protect them and be their patron saint. Even Long Liun's father, Long Hanbiao, received the notice from above. After explaining to his wife and daughter, he saw with his own eyes that his wife signed a new confidentiality contract and became a soldier to protect his family and country again. Time always flies by. At the end of the winter, Long Liun will bring dumplings made at home almost every day. Ever since Long Liun's mother discovered that Xieting Zhou and Guo Ran like to eat dumplings, as long as the weather is when it was colder, she brought dumplings with various fillings for the two of them to eat. Xieting Zhou and Guo Ran refused at first, but every time Long Liun brought them, it was not good for them to keep refusing, so they started eating with peace of mind. It can be said that the police in various places have achieved unprecedented results in solving cases in the second half of the year. For example, in some cases of recent deaths, in the past, they needed to obtain evidence and then investigate the murderer. As a result, now they have the yin-yang talisman and the requiem. This requiem charm has the effect of stabilizing ghosts. Coupled with the police uniform, it is easier to gain the trust of the deceased. Therefore, almost in the second half of the year, many police stations have obtained the requiem charms and yin and yang charms that have been approved by the above. The case-solving ability is simply superb. It can be said that cases that used to take about a week or a month to solve are now extremely simple with the confession of the deceased. At least the investigation direction is easier, so various police stations are slowly accepting the idea of ghosts exist. For example, their police station on Yangzhou Avenue has Yu Xiao in it. Yu Xiao is a fierce ghost, but she has been staying in the police station to help. Finally, the superiors gave a contract and made Yu Xiao a non-staff member of the police station. Moreover, there is still salary every month, which can just be given to Yu Xiao's two younger sisters. Of course, she will also keep some for herself. After learning that Xieting Zhou likes to drink milk tea, Yu Xiao buys milk tea every 3 days and treats people from the police station to drink it. Although she is a ghost, she still knows how to repay her kindness. However, everyone in the police station felt that Yu Xiao seemed a little afraid of Xieting Zhou and always avoided meeting her. Just a week before New Year's Eve, Xieting Zhou officially became the team leader of the Yangzhou Avenue police station and received a third-class military medal. Along with Guo Ran and Long Liun, the three of them relied on one for the next half of the year. The ghosts solved a major case of human traffickers, but later the kid's hands were stained with blood, and he was finally saved by Xieting Zhou. The gang of human traffickers was almost taken over in one fell swoop, and it was considered a big case. This is why the three of them received third-class merit. After the commendation meeting was over, Mao Kun was in a good mood as he watched his three apprentices become more and more stable. "You three, you must work hard next year and don't be surprised all day long. Our bureau is now wiping your butts every day." He said this, but Mao Kun was in a good mood, because the three apprentices were all very powerful. Not to mention the master Xieting Zhou, Guo Ran was actually talented in drawing talismans, because there was a number of talisman papers in the police station. The bureau only distributes 5 yin-yang talisman and 5 requiem talismans every month, and most of the police officers who know about this have signed confidentiality agreements. But no one expected that Guo Ran was also capable of drawing talismans. These two kinds of talismans were most indispensable in their police station now. They could even be loaned out occasionally. It could be said that he had become the target of fawning over other police stations around him. In particular, the Criminal Investigation Department, the Anti-Narcotics Brigade and the Anti-Criminal Team were all coming here every minute to borrow Xieting Zhou, but Xieting Zhou only liked to stay here and retire, and no one could do anything about it. "Master, I promise you, I will definitely be obedient in the future, Guo Ran said with a smile. In fact, Mao Kun liked the fact that he was so out of touch. As soon as the three of them walked out, they heard crying at the door. "Comrade police! Please help me, that is my wife's life-saving money." It turned out that a man with a sallow complexion pulled in a little girl tied with a rope. The little girl was unwilling to live or die and struggled wildly. The man was crying and shouting, looking very embarrassed. "What's wrong with this?" Mao Kun quickly walked up and saw the man burst into tears. "Comrade policeman, I managed to save 20,000 yuan, which is used for my wife's surgery. My wife has uterine fibroids, and she will never walk away. I finally saved 20,000 yuan while working, and I want to do it for my wife. The operation turned out to be stolen by my daughter. No matter how I beat her or scolded her, she was unwilling to take out the money and said she had bought some concert tickets. When I saw it, it was a concert ticket for a male star. My daughter said she spent 18,000 yuan to buy it. What should I do, comrade police? This is going to kill me and my wife." The man cried and took out a concert ticket from his pocket. The male idol on it looked really handsome, but what kind of ticket could be worth 18,000? And this girl still stole the money for her mother's surgery, which is really hateful. Guo Ran stretched out his hand to take the concert ticket. When he took it into his hand and looked down, he wondered why the male star on the concert ticket was so handsome. Why haven't I paid attention to it before? Long Liun also looked over and couldn't help but sigh. Are today's male celebrities so handsome? Xie Tingzhou knew that neither of them were starstruck, so he came over to look at the man on the concert ticket. After seeing that face, he frowned, and then there was a charm on the concert ticket. What a trick to confuse the mind, what a trick to kill the talisman. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Good man, he has a golden finger. Author, Zhanghu Buletin Jian. Chapter 246. Guo Ran and Long Liun on the side suddenly changed their expressions when they heard Xie Tingzhu's words. They looked at the male star on the concert ticket and felt it was very subtle. Then they discovered that the concert ticket was for 3 days later, and this the father and daughter didn't seem to be from a wealthy family, and considering this man's words, the girl was really crazy to spend 18,000 yuan on a concert ticket. Comrade police, can this ticket be refunded? My wife really needs this money. Please, comrade police, I will kneel down for you. The extremely embarrassed man had stubble on his face and his clothes were messy. He looked very tired. Mao Kun only felt that there was something in the case, so he quickly pulled the man up. Don't kneel down. If you have any questions, let's go to the bureau and tell them. We're all listening. Mao Kun pulled the person up, but the girl was still struggling, and was finally grabbed by Long Liun's arm. After that, the father and daughter were sent to the interrogation room. What should I say? This kind of case can be said to be a family matter, or it can be characterized as theft. It depends on many aspects of the situation, but Xie Tingzhu's words really make people feel evil. After entering the interrogation room, the surveillance camera was turned on, the father and daughter were placed on chairs, and the interrogation began. If you have any questions, just tell us directly. If our police can help you solve it, we will definitely help. As Mao Kun said, Long Liun on the side was recording the case. Comrade police, I am from Shanyuan. As you know, we are poor in Shanyuan. My wife was diagnosed with a tumor before, and it was not a good tumor. The hospital asked her to have an operation, but how can we have the money? I went out to work and earned tens of thousands of yuan. I finally managed to scrape together 20,000 yuan for my wife's surgery. I originally planned to have my wife's surgery after the Chinese New Year. The man started crying, looking extremely embarrassed with tears streaming down his face. My name is Fang Dai, I am 42 years old this year, and my wife's name is Miao Shiyun, she is 40 years old. We met on a blind date, and later gave birth to a daughter named Fang Tiantian. My wife was in poor health, and I didn't ask her to give me another child. I thought it would be okay to raise such a girl. But my daughter doesn't study well. She doesn't study well. She even imitates other male celebrities who chase her. It's like crazy. The tuition and fees given to her are all she bought for living expenses were photos and posters of that male star. Her mother and I didn't want to care about her at first, just treating her as a child's hobby. But we didn't expect that she would even pay for her mother's medical treatment for that male star. All stolen. Fang Dai started crying again, he was really sad. After all, being stabbed in the back by his family member was very painful for this man. In contrast, Fang Tiantian, a girl sitting next to her, seemed completely incapable of feeling her father's discomfort, and even had a bit of contempt. There was a careless irritation on her face, and she only occasionally looked at the police. We'll want to see where that concert ticket went. Then what? Mao Kun continued to ask, raising children these days is no different from raising an ancestor. Although there are good and obedient children, there are also a lot of disobedient children. I found that the money was missing at home, so I started looking for someone. It turned out that she had gone to Beijing to watch the male star's concert. We found the tickets she bought on her mother's phone, as well as the bus tickets. I chased after him, but it was just a comrade policeman, and the money was missing. The surgery cost 20,000 yuan, and my daughter bought a concert ticket worth 18,000 yuan, which she couldn't eat or drink. This was even more painful for this man. After finishing speaking, the man with red eyes looked at the policeman in front of him and begged. "Comrade police, we don't want this ticket. Please, is there any way you can return this ticket? I need money to treat my wife." How could this not make people feel distressed? Now he understood the case, and Mao Kun understood the situation. We can't guarantee this, but we will first study the value of the concert tickets, and are there any records of your daughter's purchase? Let's take a look. In fact, according to the minors' protection law, if something is sold to a minor, as a reward or other things, there is a chance to return it. Fang Tiantian looks like she is underage, but she can still save the following. Mao Kun showed the purchase records to Long Liuyun and the others, and then asked Long Liuyun and the others to go out to find out what was going on with the male star. He continued to inquire inside. After walking out of the interrogation room, Guo Ran shook his head and couldn't believe it. Who are these people? They even risked their own mother's life for an idol star, and stole the money for her surgery. It's simply terrifying. It was also the first time for Long Liuyun to encounter such crazy star chasers, and he was also a little puzzled. In the past, star chasers could only do car chasing and stalking, but this girl actually took all the money from her mother's medical treatment, which seemed really strange. It's normal. I was confused. Xieting Zhou gave an explanation and then asked the two of them. Have you searched for this little star? As soon as these words came out, the two of them took out their mobile phones and began to search for the star named Xiao Ziqiu. Neither of them cared about entertainment gossip, so naturally they didn't know any entertainment stars. After searching Weibo, I found that Xiao Ziqiu had more than 30 million Weibo fans. The first Weibo post above had millions of retweets and 600,000-700,000 comments. She's very popular. She's so handsome. No wonder so many people like her. Guo Ran sighed, and then remembered the concert tickets. He searched and found that the tickets for Xiao Ziqiu's Autumn and Winter Romance concert 3 days later had been sold out. He checked the normal ticket prices and found that the top ticket was 2,600. Around 18,000 yuan. This scalper is too arrogant. The highest price of the tickets on it is only 2,600, but it has been sold to fans for multiple times. Long Liun also sighed, and then added something for some reason. This money is all made by scalpers, and it has nothing to do with this celebrity. I think it is difficult to judge today's case. It is impossible to refund this ticket. Even if it is refunded through formal channels, it is only more than 2,000, and the value is not equal. Xieting Zhou looked at the two people's reactions and raised his eyebrows. When you first saw this person, did you think it was a good match? Do you think it matches your aesthetics? Guo Ran and Long Liun were stunned when he suddenly asked such a question. The two of them then looked at the photo of Jiao Ziqiu on their mobile phones. They had to say that this person who could be an idol star was really good looking. He had a fair face, fox eyes, a small nose and a mouth as delicate as a doll. It really makes people like it as soon as they see it. The two of them, who had never been star chasing, felt that this kid was really good when they saw this person. Xieting Zhou took out the concert ticket that the man gave him before, covered Jiao Ziqiu's face, and showed the two of them the charm on the concert ticket. The charm was golden and looked like an ordinary pattern, but it was actually a spell. Look at this again, how do you feel? Long Liun and Guo Ran looked at the golden talisman. The more they looked at it, the more they felt inexplicably uncomfortable. They could say where they felt uncomfortable, but they couldn't explain it. Before the two of them could look at it for a while, Xieting Zhou covered the talisman and looked at the two of them. The reason why you like Jiao Ziqiu when you see it is because you are obsessed with ghosts. You feel uncomfortable looking at this talisman. That's because this talisman is taking away your luck. This talisman is a life-killing curse, which takes away the people around you and others. You have to take away your own destiny to make others happy, do you understand? Guo Ran and Long Liun, who had previously accepted the existence of ghosts, realized what Xieting Zhou meant at the door. Then there are so many people at this concert, aren't they all cursed? Guo Ran couldn't imagine how all this happened, under the noses of all of them. And we were possessed by ghosts, so is this Jiao Ziqiu a ghost? Long Liun was also shocked and couldn't believe that such a thing existed in the world. Xieting Zhou didn't expect that ghost possession would start from now on. No wonder those evil ghosts practiced so quickly. They cultivated quickly by relying on human luck. Jiao Ziqiu may not be a ghost, but he must be possessed by a ghost, so he can confuse people who see him. The reason why the police can control so many ghosts now is because Xieting Zhou's Requiem talisman is effective. It can stabilize the ghosts and prevent them from talking nonsense. If you encounter some evil ghosts and you try to reason with them, it is not a joke. What? The ghost is possessed. Guo Ran was extremely shocked. He didn't expect that some ghosts could be so rampant. They were actually ghosts who became celebrities. Still liked by so many people? Thinking of the more than 30 million fans on Weibo, would they be frightened if they knew that the person they liked was actually a ghost? This matter is more serious. Let's tell Master first, and then go and arrest the people. We should also suppress the concert. This death talisman is extremely cruel and must be dealt with. Following Xieting Zhou's words, Guo Ran and Long Liun both nodded quickly, and then called Mao Kun to explain the matter in detail. Mao Kun was also shocked. You must know that this concert can accommodate 20,000 people. Man, how terrible it would be if 20,000 people were killed. But Jiao Ziqiu, who was discussed by them and regarded as a dangerous target, was very happy at this time. System, I'm going to have my first concert in my life. I'm so happy. It's because of you that I can become famous in the entertainment industry. Don't worry, I've done everything you said. After the concert, we will get many points and buy you a body when the time comes. What was floating around Jiao Ziqiu was a thick black fog, but others could not see it. Soon, the sound of the system came to Jiao Ziqiu's ears. Of course, Host, please continue to work hard. When Jiao Ziqiu heard the words of his system, he immediately felt that he was the proud one of heaven. Otherwise, why would he have such a golden finger when he entered the entertainment industry? It's so exciting to think that while others have worked so hard to train, I can just win by hosting the system. Then I'll leave it to you for the concert. I'll train your body later. Good man, he has a golden finger. Author, Zhanghu Buletin Jian. Chapter 247. The most straightforward and sincere thought of contemporary young people is probably to get something for nothing. Jiao Ziqiu is one of them. He debuted in the talent show and became an instant hit. After 3 years of debut, his dancing is just that, his singing is just that, and what you say is okay anyway. But ordinary, in short, it can be regarded as the kind of fame and fortune that can make people jealous to death in the entertainment industry. This entertainment industry is also a very magical place. Some people have acted in hundreds of dramas in their lifetime. People can't remember their names. They only know that they are actors. However, some people clearly know nothing, but they can be remembered by the public all of a sudden, and then become crazy obsessed with them. This is what the older generation calls audience popularity. On the big screen of the police station on Yangzhou Avenue, a video of Jiao Ziqiu singing and dancing was being played. A young man with an exquisite appearance was dancing to the music, and his singing voice was just like that. None of the people present had ever chased stars, but they all knew it. After realizing that this little star might be possessed by a ghost, he joined this action group. Director Wang frowned even more. If this thing is true, and there are really evil spirits who can take possession of the body, then the matter will be much more terrifying. Originally, ghosts had no way to reincarnate, but now that there is such a thing as taking possession of the body, wouldn't it be different? Can minutes be hidden inside a person's body? After the dancing in the video stopped, Director Wang looked at the crowd and said, "We need to solve this case of evil spirits very seriously. I have reported this matter and have also investigated the location of the company where Jiao Ziqiu is currently working. Mao Kun, you will lead the people directly. We went to the company to arrest people, and Ting Zhou was there. I believed that the evil ghost would not escape. Also, regarding this ticket, there was a charm on the concert ticket. After our investigation of the person involved, we found that under Jiao Ziqiu's celebrity super there is something similar to this kind of talisman in the words. It should be that this talisman was on Jiao Ziqiu's makeup at a certain time, so it caused fans to imitate it. In addition to Mao Kun and the others, there were other police officers present to cooperate with the operation. After all, this case was a bit big. It was not just a star who was possessed by a ghost. If there was really something wrong with this life-killing curse, then they must put it to death. The curse is destroyed, and any relevant information on the internet and in reality is destroyed. Report. After our investigation this morning, we discovered something. Mao Kun stood up to report. Everyone looked at Mao Kun, and then heard something creepy. This morning Fang Dai brought his daughter Fang Tiantian to report the crime, saying that his daughter Fang Tiantian stole 20,000 yuan in surgical fees for his wife's treatment of uterine fibroids and used them to buy tickets for the star Jiao Ziqiu's concert. After Comrade Xie Tingzhou reminded us, we know Jiao Ziqiu may be possessed by a ghost, and this concert ticket also has a killing curse. Then we conducted a detailed investigation and found out that Fang Tiantian fell in love with Jiao Ziqiu 3 years ago, and her mother was found out in the same year. Benign uterine fibroids, according to the doctor, generally do not get worse. Because Fang Dai's family is poor, the doctor did not recommend surgery. There are forensic doctors in this room, and they naturally know that there are many uterine fibroids in women, but they are generally less fatal. Some small uterine fibroids are just benign and do not even require surgery. This is true. But then Fang Tiantian was obsessed with Jiao Ziqiu. She once imitated the death curse and imprinted it on her arm as a tattoo. That was a year ago. After that, her mother Miao Shiyun found out that the uterus was supposed to be benign. The fibroids have become malignant and require surgery. After Comrade Xie Ting's confirmation, it has been clearly proven that Fang Tiantian used the killing curse to affect her mother's god. We must deal with the disease and destroy all the killing curses, otherwise the situation will be very serious. This life-killing curse may take away the lives of the person involved and all the people related to the person. It may be unlucky or sick at first, but the more it happens, the more it quietly takes away your life and the luck of everyone around you. If a person loses his luck, won't he die? When everyone heard this, they became more serious and immediately took notes. As for the appearance of the life-killing curse, Xie Tingzhou personally drew pictures and distributed them to everyone, so there was no life-threatening effect, otherwise everyone would be afraid of seeing this thing. In addition, this death-killing curse only has an effect on fans. To be precise, it must be done willingly, that is, you really like the star in your heart and always want to make the other person good. Even if you have to pay any price, you must make the other person good. This life-threatening curse will take effect, so I hope our police can further investigate whether Jiao Ziqiu's fans have been affected. This kind of life-threatening curse will destroy everyone. Anyway, Mao Kan thought it was very evil. Okay, we all know, then we will divide the work and cooperate. Mao Kan will take the people under you to go directly to Jiao Ziqiu, give you special approval procedures, and bring the people directly to the bureau first, as well as the ghost. I know that Comrade Xie will be able to control the ghost, and we can bring our special helper Yu Xiao with us this time. Naturally, people who deal with ghosts like this need to be professional in dealing with ghosts, and ordinary police officers will be useless. The rest of the people will work with me to investigate things about this spell, fan groups, Weibo, Super Chat, and concerts. We have already contacted them. The concert will be stopped soon. We need to scan the entire network. All information related to spells will be blocked, and the internet police are ready. Director Wan quickly arranged the work, and Mao Kan went out with his apprentice and several police officers. This time the police acted not only quickly, but also in large numbers. They were all wearing police uniforms. The sound of sirens rang out on the road, causing all cars to make evasive maneuvers. As Guo Ran drove in the car, Mao Kan couldn't help but ask Xie Tingzhou beside him. Tingzhou, is it really a ghost? Can we catch that ghost? Maybe others can't, but Xie Tingzhou can. It must be possible, and the ghost has taken a liking to that body. After spending so much time on this body, it will naturally not want to give up. With Xiao here, no ghost can escape. Yu Xiao was placed in the 10,000 ghost talisman, and she was very happy about going on a mission. Then it must have failed now, right? What would happen if the ghost succeeded in occupying the human body? Will he really become a walking dead? Of course they look like normal people at first, but the ghosts take over the human body. The body is yang, and the ghosts are yin. Yin and yang are not in harmony. In less than 5 years, the body will begin to rot, and in 10 years it will rot, so the ghost will change its body. This is why people die. In addition to being killed by ghosts, they are also possessed by ghosts. Even if this person is strong-willed and does not agree to be possessed by ghosts, if he is harassed by ghosts for a long time, he will become weak, even unlucky, and may die. After hearing this answer, no one asked any more questions. Soon we arrived at Xinggui Entertainment Company. This company is very famous in Shangjing City. It has a very large building with a training base. Many celebrities hand over work here, and their information, Jiao Ziqiu is practicing dancing here today to prepare for the upcoming concert. The police car stopped at the downstairs of Xinggui Entertainment Company. It was quite strange. After the car parked, more than a dozen policemen in police uniforms got out of the car. It looked like there was someone inside the building. Something has happened. After showing the police card to the security guard at the door, everyone walked straight in and happened to bump into Jiang Wei, who was coming downstairs. This was the person the police had contacted, Jiao Ziqiu's manager. He was confused and didn't understand what was going on. Well, I didn't expect the police to come to my door. Police. Are you Jiang Wei? Where is Jiao Ziqiu now? Take us there. After issuing the police card, Jiang Wei was frightened by the group of policemen in front of him. He quickly took the people to the elevator. Once inside the elevator, he asked cautiously. Comrade police, I felt something was wrong when I received the call before. What happened to our Ziqiu? Why did the organizer of the concert just call and say it was no longer possible? Did our Ziqiu really commit a crime? Jiang Wei watched Jiao Ziqiu's debut. Compared with the shabby demands of other stars, Jiao Ziqiu was easier to deal with. He didn't like drinking, didn't like women, and didn't like doing those weird things. It's illegal to say this. I really haven't touched it before. It's not that he committed a crime, it was something else. If Jiao Ziqiu was possessed by a ghost, that would be normal. They were not real criminals. They were here to catch the ghost. By the way, we know how Jiao Ziqiu got possessed by the ghost. That's good, that's good. He's practicing dancing on the 7th floor now. I'll take you there. Hearing that it was not Jiao Ziqiu who committed the crime, Manager Jiang Wei felt more relieved. Then the elevator door opened. Where they couldn't see, Yu Xiao had been pulled out. The female ghost in red, her hair swelling rapidly, moved towards her crazily. The dangerous place extended past. That place was the room where Jiao Ziqiu practiced dancing. Jiao Ziqiu, who was dancing in the room, stiffened for an instant, and then fell to the ground uncontrollably in the next second, even spraining his feet, making Jiao Ziqiu scream in pain. It hurts like hell. And where Jiao Ziqiu couldn't see it, the female ghost in red had broken through the wall and was fighting with the black ghost. Jiang Wei originally wanted to follow him down the elevator, but was stopped by the police. The police are handling the case. You should avoid it for now. I will come back to you later. The elevator door closed again. At this moment, even though everyone was mentally prepared, they were still startled when they suddenly saw Yu Xiao's long hair entangled in the entire corridor. Those black hairs were wrapped around the wall as if they were alive, forming a frightening black wall. Everyone had already raised their penises and walked towards it, followed by the transparent glass wall. I saw Yu Xiao, who was fighting crazily inside, and the black mist. Oh my god, everyone was really shocked when they thought that Yu Xiao, who was so obedient in the police station, now had swollen hair and sharp nails. Good man, he has a golden finger. Author, Zhanghu Bulletin Jian. Chapter 248. Yu Xiao in the Yangzhou Avenue police station is harmless. She usually looks like a little girl next door. Almost all the police in the police station have received milk tea from Yu Xiao after receiving their salaries. This little girl likes to buy milk tea for everyone and even remembers everyone's taste. She is so cute. But now, the walls are full of black hair entangled. The air is cold and damp. The hair crawling on the wall is like a black snake entwined and surging. People dare not look at it for a long time. Even if they look at it for a long time, it seems that the black hair has come alive. No, that thing is alive. Under the control of the red-clothed female ghost, the black hair is like alive, surrounding the entire floor, and no ghost is allowed to leave this territory. Now this floor is Yu Xiao's territory. The crawling black hair spread from the wall to the ground. A policeman accidentally stepped on it and was immediately startled. The soft feeling under his feet made him quickly lift his feet, with a frightened face. Unexpectedly, the soft hair actually separated a strand, then quietly hooked his ankle, and then pointed into the glass. It was obviously a terrifying scene, but it was a bit cute. The police continued to move forward. Through the glass, they could see Uziao fighting with a ball of black. The black hair surged and kept piercing into the black fog like steel needles. The fog was also resisting, but they couldn't understand it. The whole battle, the black fog and Uziao almost fought next to Jiao Ziqiu. Jiao Ziqiu, who was already in great pain because of his sprained foot, didn't have time to touch his foot to see if it hurt badly, and then he saw the terrifying red-clothed female ghost appear, and her long nails almost wanted to pierce his head directly. And what is that black fog? Jiao Ziqiu, who had been sitting on the ground, now quickly lay on the ground and shivered. He didn't dare to look at the female ghost at all. Then he felt a cold and sticky feeling touching his hands and feet. When he reacted, Jiao Ziqiu opened his eyes, but he didn't expect to see the black hair of the female ghost. Ah! Jiao Ziqiu screamed, and then shouted madly. System! There is a ghost in the system. Come and help me. Instinctively, he felt that the system was more useful to him. Jiao Ziqiu struggled frantically, but it was useless. Uziao had worked in the police station for so long, and she had Xie Tingzhou, a master of metaphysics, by her side. Her skills were improving by leaps and bounds. So it would be a dream for an ordinary human to resist her. So soon, Jiao Ziqiu on the ground was entangled by Uziao's hair, from his fingers to his ankles, and then slowly climbed up his body. It was the kind of feeling of being unable to move and being entangled, but he didn't feel any pain. Instead, he felt that the other person's hair was a bit gentle. Jiao Ziqiu was so anxious that his face turned pale, but he couldn't move. As a result, the black mist over there saw that the body he had chosen was actually being occupied by the female ghost, and rushed towards Jiao Ziqiu directly, intending to take over. However, at this moment, the door of the dance studio had been kicked open, and Xie Tingzhou directly threw a yellow talisman over. Fix. His talismans have never been so fancy, most of the fancy things are written on the talismans. The yellow talisman quickly rushed to the black mist, and then fixed the black mass in place. Then the policeman following Xie Tingzhou saw the true appearance of the black mist. The black mist turned into a man who was only 1.6 meters tall, with dark skin and narrowed eyes. The man struggled hard and tried to stare at Xie Tingzhou with vicious eyes. He didn't expect that after practicing for decades, he was subdued by a man who looked like a policeman. He couldn't move, and struggled frantically. His body gradually showed its shape. Moreover, he was directly fixed in the air by Xie Tingzhou at this moment. The way he stood on two legs didn't look scary, but also a bit funny. Uziao began to relax when she saw the evil ghost was subdued. The black hair that was originally entangled with Jiao Ziqiu began to retreat. The black hair that had grown wildly became waist length. The blood-red dress directly changed its shape on her body and turned into a police uniform of a female police officer. After all, she was a non-staff member, and Uziao also had a uniform. She fell to the ground, wearing a police uniform, but with a yellow talisman on her chest. Her face was white and clean, and her hair was neatly combed behind her head. At this time, she looked at Xie Tingzhou eagerly, as if waiting for something. Mao Kun saw the little girl's bright eyes and said immediately, "Xiao performed well today. I will treat you to dumplings later, okay?" When Mao Kun said this, everyone understood Xiao's eyes and immediately praised her in a few words. "Xiao is awesome, I'll treat you to milk tea when we get back to the police station. Then I'll buy you a skirt with the others, okay? Xiao is awesome. The police have been with Xiao for a few months and know that this girl is the most innocent. Although she is only 22 years old, she is a little silly because she comes from a small city." After arriving at the police station, although they know that she is an evil ghost, they all treat Xiao as a child after knowing her story. "Yeah," Xiao nodded excitedly, then ran to Xie Tingzhou, looking at him expectantly. What she wanted most was Xieting's praise. "You did a great job today. I'll buy you a skirt after we go back. It's useless for ghosts to eat human food. Even if they can taste the flavor, it's useless for cultivation. As a girl, Yu Xiao is being dressed up by everyone. Every month, the police exchange money together to buy skirts for Yu Xiao. Although Yu Xiao has her own salary, she always likes to buy them for everyone. Every night when she works overtime, Yu Xiao always buys delicious food for the people in the police station. Everyone wanted to refuse, but Yu Xiao was their own person, and they were afraid that the child would be sad, so they could only eat with tears, which made all the police on night duty gain several pounds during that period. Yu Xiao was immediately happy. Everyone didn't expect that things would be so easy. They didn't make any moves, and Yu Xiao alone caught the ghost. Jiao Ziqiu, who was lying on the ground, was already sitting there. His ankle hurt so much that he couldn't get up. He just looked at Yu Xiao quietly and suddenly felt that he fell in love at first sight. A policeman came over and stretched out his hand to help Jiao Ziqiu up from the ground. "Oh, police comrade, it hurts, I sprained my ankle." As he said this, Guo Ran squatted down to check Jiao Ziqiu. As expected, he found that the right ankle was already red. It was indeed sprained. Long Liun looked at the ghost that was fixed there. She felt that since she saw the first ghost, she saw nothing strange now. "Police, we are here to investigate your concert ticket case and the fatal curse case, Jiao Ziqiu, right? Please cooperate with our police action." Mao Kun took out his documents for Jiao Ziqiu to see. He had been helped to sit aside at this time. Jiao Ziqiu was not stupid. Seeing so many people in police uniforms, he would not doubt the other party's identity. After all, who dares to pretend to be a policeman these days? What is the fatal curse? Jiao Ziqiu was stunned for a moment, not understanding what the police meant by this. Mao Kun raised his eyebrows and took out his concert ticket directly, and then showed Jiao Ziqiu the golden spell on it. "It's this spell, this is the fatal curse, don't you know?" Mao Kun said, looking at the ghost on the side, while Jiao Ziqiu was stunned and couldn't believe it. "The system told me that this is the spell that will make me famous. He said that using this will make fans like me more." That's right, Jiao Ziqiu, who was stupid, didn't know anything. He realized later that he had said something about the system and laughed awkwardly. System. Mao Kun was old and didn't know what such a new thing was. Guo Ran on the side was used to it, and then understood it. "You mean, you have a system, and the system tells you that this spell is a spell that will make you famous and make fans like you more." These things are written a lot on various websites. The male protagonist was originally a useless waste, but with the system, he soared to the sky. Wait. The system you are talking about, isn't it him? Pointing to the controlled male ghost beside him, Guo Ran felt that he seemed to know something. But Jiao Ziqiu shook his head frantically. "Impossible. My system is a big star system, how could it be a person? Oh no, it's a ghost. After all, he is a star, and it is easy to calm down when encountering things." Although Jiao Ziqiu doesn't understand why there is such a thing that looks like a ghost around him, Jiao Ziqiu doesn't admit that his system is a ghost. "My system is very powerful. It was bound to me when I debuted, so I became a hit. If it is a ghost, how can it have such great power?" Jiao Ziqiu couldn't believe it, and then kept calling the system in his mind, but it was quiet, and there was nothing in his mind. The system seemed to disappear. This made Jiao Ziqiu a little flustered. The concert was about to start. Without the system hosting, how could he perform on stage? The previous songs and dances were all learned with the help of the system hosting. In fact, Jiao Ziqiu didn't know them at all. How did this happen in the end? System. System, where are you? Come out. Although the police have found you, I can take you to the police station. Then we can eat the emperor's food. Contribute to the country. Jiao Ziqiu couldn't help shouting, making the male ghost over there awkward for a moment. Many policemen were also extremely embarrassed. Only Guo Ran sighed and patted Jiao Ziqiu on the shoulder. Brother, you don't have a system these years, you are possessed by a ghost. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Good man, he has a golden finger. Author, Zhanghu Buletin Jian. Chapter 249. The atmosphere today was destined to be awkward. The system in Jiao Ziqiu's mind showed no response. Faced with the police's sincere words, Jiao Ziqiu didn't believe it and couldn't help but point at the ghost here and there. Uncle policeman, I really don't believe it. The ghosts written in the novel are all deadly, but my system is not like this. My system not only helps me sing and dance, but also helps me manage relationships. I made my debut until now, the system has been helping. Now you tell me that my system is a ghost. How can I believe it? It was really hard for Jiao Ziqiu to accept this. After all, he had always thought that he was the chosen one who could just lie down. After all, he had to learn how to sing and dance to make his debut. He just relied on the system to reach the sky in one step. After the system was hosted, he almost didn't have to work hard. When you go on stage, you only need system hosting. How can such a high-tech system be possessed by ghosts? Is this scientific? And my system also has excellent acting skills. I have been on the set before, and my acting skills were praised by big directors in the circle. Could this be the work of a ghost? Jiao Ziqiu tried his best to refute, preferring to believe that he had a system rather than believe that he was possessed by a ghost. Guo Ran glanced at the ghost next to him and said, "You said, is there such a possibility? It's this ghost. He can sing, dance, and act. So he got into your body and achieved the system hosting effect you mentioned." After bringing in all the novels he had read, Guo Ran felt that this was the most likely answer. Jiao Ziqiu was confused. Jiao Ziqiu couldn't believe it. Oh my God! Is there such a kind of living God in the world? She comes to me just to sing, dance and act? Does that mean that every star in the entertainment industry should be matched with one? The policeman who said this fell silent. Okay. Stop talking nonsense, buddy. Come with us to the police station. Now that you are involved in a big case, and this ghost has been around for a long time, you will die, do you understand? Why do you think about it all day long if you don't work hard? Something useless. Before the police came, they had done a psychological portrait of Jiao Ziqiu, but they found that this person was somewhat fragmented. Now it seems that it is no wonder that the ghost has found such a person. He has such an open mind and doesn't put in much effort. He likes to lie down. No, it is the best target for ghosts. The most important thing is that Jiao Ziqiu does not have any relatives or friends. In other words, even if he dies, he will not stand up for his justice. Therefore, it is easier for ghosts to target such people who have no father or mother, and preferably have no connections in the world. Such people are most likely to have their bodies taken away by ghosts without being discovered. Uncle policeman, I just can't accept that my system is gone. You know? The system is gone, which means my entertainment life is gone. Will I quit the entertainment industry in the future? Jiao Ziqiu is a stupid person. He has not realized the seriousness of the matter at the moment and is still lamenting that his entertainment career is gone. Haha, please call me brother policeman. I'm only 1 year older than you, okay? Guo Ran ridiculed expressionlessly, wondering how anyone could be a star. People like Jiao Ziqiu who didn't seek to improve themselves and felt comfortable being possessed by ghosts were not worthy of being stars at all. Those fans knew what they liked. Is he such a person? Xieting Zhou also directly took out the 10,000 ghost talisman and put away the immobilized ghost. Yu Xiao originally wanted to enter the 10,000 ghost talisman, but Xieting Zhou waved his hand and the Requiem talisman on her body disappeared. At this time, except for her pale face at this moment, Yu Xiao looked like a normal policewoman. Many police officers took Jiao Ziqiu out of this floor and got into the elevator. When they came out, their manager Zhang Wei was waiting at the door of the elevator. When they saw Jiao Ziqiu coming out with the police, they were shocked. "Comrade police, didn't you say you have something to ask? Why did you bring this person down? If someone saw this outside, they would think that my Jiao Ziqiu had committed something. If this was captured by the outside media, who knows what rumors would spread by then? By then, Jiao Ziqiu would be dead, and the company's stock would probably fall. See for yourself. He is not in handcuffs. He is not a criminal. He is a co-investigator and a victim. Do you understand?" Guo Ran directly asked Zhang Wei to take a look. Zhang Wei saw that Jiao Ziqiu was indeed not wearing handcuffs, so he relaxed a lot when he heard that Jiao Ziqiu was the victim. He felt more comfortable and quickly laughed. "That's no problem, but comrade police, can you tell us what the case is? If the media captures it, our company will have an explanation. Naturally, it is impossible to openly tell the public about ghosts and life-killing talismans in this matter, so the higher UPS have already discussed countermeasures and said it directly. It's about the case of scalpers. Isn't your Jiao Ziqiu going to hold a concert? We found out that many of the tickets for this concert were bought by scalpers and then resold to fans. Now some fans have stolen family money to buy tickets. Our police cannot tolerate this kind of scalping behavior. We have now intervened in the investigation. The concert will be stopped and the scalping will be further investigated. New policies will be introduced in the future. Now we need Jiao Ziqiu to go back to the police station to investigate." Zhang Wei heard about the scalpers, and then he understood why the notice from above said that the concert was not allowed. The reason for doing it for a long time was because the scalpers were making trouble, but it was approaching the end of the year, and he didn't expect that the country would start to arrest this. No problem, comrade police. Since this is the case, we will naturally cooperate. How about this, can I ask the assistant to follow me? I will be in the company. If there is any news, we can also conduct a public relations. After all, a male celebrity with more than 30 million fans was taken to the police station. This sounds strange, right? Okay, no problem. Jiao Ziqiu can be considered a victim. After all, he still doesn't know that he is possessed by a ghost. Maybe if this matter is not discovered, he will die one day without knowing it. After talking to Zhang Wei, the police took Jiao Ziqiu away. After going out, Jiao Ziqiu did not wear a mask or glasses, but he was in a bad mood visible to the naked eye. He was supported by Guo Ran, of course, because of the pain in his ankle. It can be said that as soon as Jiao Ziqiu got into the police car here, someone took a picture of Jiao Ziqiu getting into the police car over there. Seeing this video, the paparazzi were shocked. I just came to take pictures in front of Xinggui Entertainment. Who would have thought that I could take pictures of something like this? Feeling that they had made a fortune, the paparazzi quickly informed their team. In less than 10 minutes, the story of Jiao Ziqiu being taken away by the police had already been posted on the internet and even started to hit hot searches. But this has nothing to do with Jiao Ziqiu now. His eyes are dull, and he still can't believe that what he has experienced is not Long Aotian who was selected by the system, but an unlucky ghost who was possessed by a ghost. This. Jiao Ziqiu, who just reacted, immediately turned to look at the policewoman sitting in the front passenger seat, Yu Xiao, and then he discovered something strange, that is, in the rearview mirror, what he saw on the passenger seat was empty, but you could indeed see Yu Xiao sitting there with the naked eye. Oh my god, What's more terrifying than the system being gone is that there are ghosts among the police. He couldn't help but secretly touch the hand of the policeman next to him. Guo Ran was so touched that he was speechless and took his hand out. "What are you doing? Why are you touching my hand? I told you that your behavior is called sexual harassment, do you know? Although I am a man, you can't touch my hand casually like this. If I really touch it for you, are you going to touch my legs later?" Guo Ran was shocked and wanted to jump out of the car, but Jiao Ziqiu also reacted and smiled awkwardly at Guo Ran. "Comrade police, I didn't touch your hand on purpose, I just wanted to know if you were human. The temperature I just touched was hot. This police comrade must be a human, right?" The driver this time was Xieting Zhou. After all, the person sitting in the passenger seat was Yu Xiao. Yu Xiao listened to Xieting Zhou the most. "Of course I'm a human. Do you think everyone is as indistinguishable from ghosts as you? If our police hadn't come to save you, you wouldn't have known how you died, okay?" Guo Ran complained, and then saw the victim pointing at the rear-view mirror. "But I couldn't see the policewoman in front of me in the rear-view mirror. And when I was in the dance studio, did I see the policewoman's hair? Her hair?" In short, Jiao Ziqiu raised a sole question. Can ghosts become police officers these days? These words directly made everyone in the car laugh. After all, many people are afraid when they see ghosts. Most people who have done bad things and feel guilty are even more afraid. But as Jiao Ziqiu, who was possessed by a ghost, not only was he not afraid of Yu Xiao, he even dared to ask, which was a bit interesting. "Of course, is it possible that you are discriminating against ghosts? Even if it is a ghost, there are also kind ghosts, but the one who possesses you is an evil ghost who will kill you." Guo Ran is now used to having a ghost in his bureau, and he knows some of the policies above, so he is not afraid of ghosts. How can this ghost have a bad heart? Jiao Ziqiu nodded immediately, and then couldn't help but talk to Yu Xiao in front. Police officer, thank you for saving my life. This life-saving grace cannot be repaid." Seeing that Jiao Ziqiu wanted to say something, Long Liun interrupted him directly. "Don't harass the policewoman. Not even ghosts." Jiao Ziqiu suddenly felt aggrieved, thinking that since he was possessed by a ghost, there must be something that attracts ghosts. Now that he was rescued by a ghost policeman, what happened to Tai Tai? What if someone also wants to have a ghost relationship with someone? Yu Xiao also felt that this person was paying too much attention to her, and then her hair suddenly grew up. While shocking the people behind her, the hair came directly in front of Jiao Ziqiu, and then formed two letters, one S and one B. Now Guo Ran and Long Liun burst into laughter. They didn't expect such a quiet little girl like Yu Xiao to curse. The police car arrived at the police station amidst cheers and laughter. "Good man, he has a golden finger." Author, Zhanghu Buletin Jian. Chapter 250. Jiao Ziqiu was very obedient after arriving at the police station. Although he was a whimsical person, he still respected the police very much. Even if he learned that there was a female ghost among the police, he would not be surprised. After all, as long as he wears clothes, wearing a police uniform is to protect the people. As a member of the people, Jiao Ziqiu is not afraid. Under the white incandescent lamp, Jiao Ziqiu's delicate face is really beautiful. It's not as confusing as on the poster, but it's innocent and a bit stupid. Especially those eyes, which can almost be seen through at a glance. Feeling. Name, age, height, home address. Normal inquiries are required. Guo Ran was recording on the side. Xieting Zhou is the main interrogator of this case. Yu Xiao is also on the side. Later, he may simultaneously interrogate the ghost who has taken over Jiao Ziqiu's body. Jiao Ziqiu, 21 years old, 1.8 meters tall, lives on the 26th floor of Huiyun Community, Shangjing City. Jiao Ziqiu was very obedient. He sat there and answered seriously. He had figured out the situation on the way and decided to cooperate with the police seriously. When did you discover that the ghost was possessed, or in other words, when did the system appear? Xieting Zhou continued to ask, and Jiao Ziqiu was very cooperative. 3 years ago, I was participating in a variety show called I'm a Top Star. It was the kind of show where many contestants competed together and then debuted based on their popularity. I was the first. Speaking of this, Jiao Ziqiu stopped dozing off and added, I just participated in this show at that time because my director told me that I would be given 8,000 yuan to participate in one episode of the show. I was an orphan and had just dropped out of school at the time, so I went on the show for 8,000 yuan. After participating in the show, the system suddenly appeared one night and told me that he was a superstar system and would help me become a big star. Thinking about it now, all of this makes people feel very magical. Long Liun recorded all this and heard Jiao Ziqiu say again. Actually, I don't like being a star because my past will be exposed. I just wanted to earn 8,000 yuan at that time, and I have never learned to sing or dance since I was a child. The only thing I can possibly use is this face. Speaking of this, Jiao Ziqiu was a little sarcastic, as if he had thought of something, but he quickly covered it up. I refused to become a big star and told the system that I couldn't sing, dance or act, so I couldn't become a big star. But the system told me that it could fully take care of my body and allow me to win without having to work hard. I'm an orphan, I just eat and drink alone, and I don't have much thought about struggling, so I agreed to be bound to the system. From now on, everything about the stage will be managed by the system for me. Thinking of this, Jiao Ziqiu also didn't expect that the system he once admired turned out to be a ghost. He helped me sing and dance, and helped me get the championship spot all the way. In fact, there were players who were better than me in front of me, but in the process, these players all collapsed one by one, and I won the first place. The system he said that those who have girlfriends and those who are married and have children are not worthy of being idols. The people who want to be idols should be clean people like me. When the policeman heard this, he couldn't help but roll his eyes at Jiao Ziqiu, thinking to himself, besides being clean, what else do you have? You rely on ghosts to sing and dance, and you rely on others to act. Besides a face, what else do you have? Do you have a smart brain? Later, after I debuted, I signed a contract with my current entertainment company. I don't know how this system worked. My share was very high, so for 3 years I have been performing, filming commercials and producing songs. Those stages where I was out of the industry were all its system hosting, and singing is also system hosting. I made a lot of money, bought a house and a car in Shangjing City, and now I have a lot of savings. Jiao Ziqiu almost explained everything completely, so Guo Ran couldn't help but ask. Then the star's living arrangements, singing, dancing and work are all managed by the system, so what do you do? In other words, these tasks were all done by ghosts. Thinking about it this way, Guo Ran still felt a little envious of Jiao Ziqiu for some reason. He used his body for ghosts for 3 years and immediately became famous. Who wouldn't want to? I win, the system said, he can help me complete it, I just need to agree to the trusteeship. Of course, Jiao Ziqiu was a loser to the extreme. This was probably what contemporary young people would call a loser, so Jiao Ziqiu accepted such a strange system without hesitation. Did you feel uncomfortable while hosting the system? Xieting Zhou asked. Ghosts can't take over a person's body just once. Some people have strong masculinity, so even if ghosts take over in a short time, they cannot stay in this person's body forever. No, I just feel chaotic. I don't know what I am doing. After the trusteeship is completed, I feel extremely tired, but I just need to take a nap. And if you think about it, why do I never feel that this system works? The problem It's because the system is hosted every time I work, and I am taking a break when I need to rest and consume. How could I think that the system is a ghost? This is obviously the gospel of God's chosen workers. The policemen who heard Xiaoziqiu's words were all envious and jealous. Yes, if there was such a person, he would work for you when you were working, and when you took a break, your rest time would be yours, and the money earned would be yours. Your fame is yours. Do you think the other person is bad? Hey, are you envious? Xieting Zhou was also helpless. He thought it was amazing that this person could survive until now. Next, Xieting Zhou took out the 10,000 Ghosts talisman and released the Black Soul. In an instant, Yu Xiao's hair turned into a handcuff-like existence, wrapping the opponent directly, and Xieting Zhou's with the spell. The ghost that appeared was fixed next to Xiaoziqiu, which shocked Xiaoziqiu. It's your turn. Name, age, time of death. The ghost being questioned couldn't struggle at this time. After all, there was a more powerful evil ghost in front of him, and there was also an unknown heavenly master. This ghost knew that it was useless no matter what he did, so he could only compromise. Zhong Qinghua, 28 years old, has been dead for 40 years. This name really doesn't match the man in front of me, because this man's appearance really doesn't have such a temperament. Why did you get into Xiaoziqiu's body and lie to him that you were the system? Xieting Zhou continued to ask, and Xiaoziqiu on the side couldn't help but look at the ghost beside him, thinking to himself, is this guy the one who got into his body and then worked for him? Isn't it okay to be a ghost? What kind of hobby is this if you have to work for others? Could it be that you felt that working part-time during your lifetime was not enough? Before I died, I always longed for the days of being a star. Because I was not good looking, I wanted to be popular. So after I saw Xiaoziqiu, I wanted to have sex with him and complete my dream of becoming a star. Dream. What the ghost said was very harmless. If he were an ordinary person, he would probably believe his lies, but Xieting Zhou didn't believe it. Oh? Then why did you choose Xiaoziqiu instead of choosing someone else? His question made Xiaoziqiu stunned and extremely curious. Why did he choose him when he had no choice among so many good-looking brothers? Because he looks good. The male ghost said this, and Xiaoziqiu suddenly felt proud, but he didn't know that there was also a lawsuit involved. Okay, Jiaorui, no one here will listen to your nonsense. We have already investigated it. It is true that you died 40 years ago, but your wife gave birth to a girl, and you have a ghost after your death. You kept pestering your wife, and after your wife remarried, your family was killed, leaving behind a confused daughter. Your daughter was deceived and became pregnant and gave birth to Xiaoziqiu. After she regained consciousness, she sent the child to the name Xiaoziqiu was left in the orphanage, and you chose to take on Xiaoziqiu's body because Xiaoziqiu is your grandson. You two originally have the same blood. When you develop this body over time, you can use this body. If you stay alive, Xiaoziqiu will die by then, am I right? This was discovered during the investigation of Xiaoziqiu. Xiaoziqiu's experience is available online, and the police's data is clearer. He was left in an orphanage, but he can still find people based on his appearance. Although Jiaorui is not good looking, his wife is he paid 400,000 yuan to marry a beautiful wife into his family, and his daughter is also very beautiful, otherwise he would not have given birth to a child like Xiaoziqiu. Jiaorui focused on his own offspring and wanted to resurrect them through corpses, so he deceived Xiaoziqiu, first habitually living in Xiaoziqiu's body, and then seizing the body step by step, and finally achieved the goal of occupying the magpie's nest. What? This male ghost is me. Xiaoziqiu couldn't pronounce the word grandfather, so he felt that just based on their appearance, they really didn't have any blood relationship. Okay. Jiaorui didn't expect that his identity would be exposed. He had obviously changed his appearance. I saw another yellow spell coming from Xieting Zhou, and Jiao Rui's appearance began to change. His skin began to turn white, his eyes became bigger, and then he turned into a handsome appearance. Now he really looked a bit similar to Jiao Ziqiu. You have been dead for 40 years. You should have been reincarnated or disappeared into the world, but now you are able to have such abilities. That proves that you have practiced the ghost way and practiced by devouring the souls of the dead. That's why you gave Jiao Ziqiu's face on the stage. Draw a life-killing curse on it, and then print a life-killing curse on the concert ticket. Wait for the life-killing curse to take effect, and the ghosts who died because of the life-killing curse will be swallowed by you. When you are strong enough, you can be reborn in Jiao Ziqiu's body. Am I right?